You mentioned quality control there, and one of the questions I want to ask you, what does that actually look like, and what does the R&D process look like? Because I think these are really valuable to listeners to understand what is
Absolutely.
the process of making these that makes it so high quality, and what is the R&D, who decides and who comes up with the next product, because I think that's essential to telling the story of the end product.
Yes, that's a great question. So for starters, we had a guy come in who was his degree was in like standard operation procedures, SOPs.
Yep, SOPs, I know.
So he came in, he got us all set up within the facility. We are not FDA approved, and I will say we've been turned into every FDA agency probably in America.
Hmm.
And at this point, they just kind of laugh. They're our friends. We're not FDA approved. We don't have interest in that, but we did have an FDA consultant come out and make sure we're legal.
Yeah.
So we have all the things. That was kind of one of those things that needed to be done, so
Hmm.
that we made sure all of our operations were legal and we were doing things correctly. So that's very valuable to us. She is practically on staff with us now. We just go to her for any questions, and she's been so helpful. And so now when people say, we're turning you into the FDA, we're like, well, we have someone if you'd like to talk to her. They like to use that a lot against people who do natural things. But we just, that was a scary thing when all of that started happening, but we just took it in stride and got the help we needed and made sure we got those processes started up. We have lots of eyes on every development, sign offs. We have, all kinds of operations like that to make sure it's not just a one person gig, creating. We have a team that creates, of course, I'm on that team, but we create the products. We're constantly testing them out. We have, several of us that are, okay, I like this about this one. And, we're giving feedback. And then the final product is approved by all of us, So before it even touches the hands of the customers, we have probably been working on it for months. So that's just kind of how that works, and some of the ways we've gotten things in order to be able to serve bigger, I guess, if that makes sense.
No, it's not easy, and I do want to backtrack to that a little bit, what you said about being turned in and the FDA getting involved in something that is so natural, right? That you could pick
Mhm.
off a tree and take,
Right.
and you're just doing that into a syrup. And what has that been like to actually have people come after you in a sense and kind of, be negative towards that and say, we're turning you, what I don't, I've had it happen too so many
Right.
times
Okay,
that you
yeah.
almost want to say, what are we turning in here, guys? What are we really angry about? That people
Right.
are getting better with natural things? Because I know claims are
Yes.
always enforced. And yes, you can't make
Right.
a claim to treat, cure, prevent disease,
Right.
which I'm
Yes.
sure you guys know
We
and
have
don't.
had to clean that up. You're right.
Yes, over and over.
Uh-huh.
And we've gotten those FDA letters, even when actually an article we put out at the beginning of COVID, it wasn't even COVID related, it was virus and infection related, and saying elderberry is great for the immune system. Weeks
Mhm.
later, we got a letter from the
Oh,
FDA saying you
wow.
can't do that.
Of
And it was
course.
like,
I
why
mean,
can't we? I mean, there is
I
scientific
know.
literature to it, there is so
Right.
much there already. What do you think it is, Jill, that people are just so negative sometimes to something again that's so
Yes.
natural and been on earth forever, and you're just kind of helping people obtain that, making it easier for them?
That is a great question too. At first I would be mad. How
Me
dare they?
too.
It felt personal,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But when I backed up and really looked at it, I realized people are still just very like, again, it's a failure to merge the two.
Yeah.
There's a place for Western medicine, but we have forgotten how to be well and stay well. Within Eastern medicine has a huge part in that. And so the merging of the two again is our goal. I think that the people over here, they trust the Western medicine so hardcore, and the science behind it, and they are still part of the system that it's hard for them to accept there would be any other way. And so those people that are turning us in, I just always felt like I felt sorry for them,
Mm.
because I think that, when you can open up to both and merge them, you find really amazing things. We are blessed to have some of the technological advances in our medicine here in America. But man, if you can merge the stay well, be well, with that, we're in a place to be healthier than probably we've ever been as a society. And so I think they've just failed to really embrace that yet. and they find their hope in a system that, that hasn't really worked for many, but for them, it's a place of security. And
Yeah.
so I think that's where they come at us from.
Yeah, I've learned also to show empathy. Of course, the first
Yes.
reaction is anger and
Yeah.
upset, and
Yeah. How
you're
dare
just
you?
trying to do the best for people, and here are people trying to stop you from doing that.
Right.
And
That's how
even
it
taking the
feels.
business side out of it, that kind of hurts,
Mhm.
where you kind of put in
Mhm.
your blood, sweat, and tears to help others.
Mhm.
And at
Absolutely.
a lot of time at a loss. I'm sure you know that in the beginning, you're not making too
Oh,
much
it's
money
an
off of this.
investment.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a huge investment, and that does, but you have to show sometimes that empathy for people that just are not open to it, are not aware. There has to be
Right.
their lives in a sense are in a bit closed off to certain things that can hope that would enhance it in some ways. That
Right.
would bring you back to how we lived for thousands of years,
Yeah.
in tune with nature and
Mhm.
not against it and relying on a chemically kind of induced way of life.
Right. Exactly.
Oh yeah, no, it's I think it's a challenge that every company in the natural sector, nutritional sector,
Mhm.
holistic sector deals with, and I think it's one that people are picking up on, that this is helpful. This is good stuff. I've experienced it. I've tried it. It helped me
Yes.
like you did.